Q1. What is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is a language of the World Wide Web. It is a standard text formatting language which is used to create and display pages on the web. HTML makes the text more interactive and dynamic. It can turn text into images, tables, links. HTML pages are saved by adding .html or .html in web page name. Q2. What is the difference between HTML elements and tags? Elements. Tags. The element is an individual component of the HTML web page or document. It represents semantics or meaning. For example, the title element represents the title of the document. It is the root of the HTML document which is used to specify that the document is HTML. For example, the head tag is used to contain all the head element in the HTML file. Q3. What are attributes and how do you use them? Each tag has additional attributes that change the way the tag behaves or is displayed. For example, a input tag has a type attribute, which you can use to specify whether it's a text field, checkbox, radio button or one of many more options. Attributes are specified directly after the name of the tag, inside the two angled brackets. They should only ever appear in opening tags or in self-closing tags. But they can never be in closing tags. Example: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dash text field dash. Input type is equal to text. Dash checkbox dash. Input type is equal to checkbox. Dash radio button dash. Input type is equal to radio, value is equal to on. Q4. What is the difference between a block level element and an inline element? Block. Inline. A block level element is drawn as a block that stretches to fill the full width available to it, i.e., the width of its container, and will always start on a new line. Elements that are block level by default: div, ing, section, form, nav. Inline elements are drawn where they are defined and only take up space that is absolutely needed. The easiest way to understand how they work is to look at how text flows on a page. Examples of elements that are inline by default: span, b, string, a, input. Q5. When are comments used in HTML? To understand the code easily, you can add code comments to your HTML document. These are not displayed in the browser, but they help you in leaving notes for yourself and other developers as to what a section of HTML is for. The start of the comment is denoted by, and the end is marked by. Anything in the middle will be completely ignored, even if it contains valid HTML. For example, 1, 2, 3. Dash this is a comment. Dash. Dash comments can span multiple lines to dash. Dash this part is ignored in the browser dash. Q6. What are the HTML tags used to display the data in the tabular form? The list of HTML tags used to display data in the tabular form include: tag, description, table. It defines a table. tr, This tag defines a row in a table. Eth. It defines a header cell in a table. Td. This is used to define a cell in a table. Caption. It defines the table caption. Call group. It specifies a group of one or more columns in a table for formatting. Call. This is used with call group element to specify column properties for each column. Body. This tag is used to group the body content in a table. Keyad. It is used to group the header content in a table. Footer. It is used to group the footer content in a table. Q7. How to create a hyperlink in HTML. The HTML provides an anchor tag to create a hyperlink that links one page to another page. These tags can appear in any of the following ways. Unvisited link, it is displayed, underlined and blue. Visited link, it is displayed, underlined and purple. Active link, it is displayed, underlined and red. The syntax of hyperlink in HTML is 1. A ref is equal to link text a. Q8. Name some common lists that are used when designing a page. There are many common lists used for design a page. You can choose any or a combination of the following list types. Ordered list. The ordered list displays elements in a numbered format. It is represented by all tag. Unordered list. The unordered list displays elements in a bulleted format. It is represented by all tag. Definition list. The definition list displays elements in definition form like in a dictionary. The DL, DT, and DD tags are used to define description list. Q9. What is semantic HTML? Semantic HTML is a coding style. It is the use of HTML markup to reinforce the semantics or meaning of the content. For example, in semantic HTML, B tag is not used for bold statement as well as I tag is used for italic. Instead of these we use string, and im tags. Q10. How to create a nested webpage in HTML. The HTML iframe tag is used to display a nested webpage. In other words, it represents a webpage within a webpage. The HTML iframe tag defines an inline frame. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Doctype HTML. HTML. Body. H2. HTML example, H2. Use the height and width attributes to specify the size of the iframe. Iframe src is equal to, a ref is equal to, https www.edureka.co, https www.edureka.co, a, height is equal to, 300, width is equal to, 400, iframe. Body. HTML. Q11. What is an image map? An image map is used for linking many different web pages using a single image. It is represented by map tag. You can define shapes in images that you want to include as part of an image mapping. Q12. Does a hyperlink only apply to text? No, hyperlinks can be used both on texts and images. The HTML anchor tag defines a hyperlink that links one page to another page. The ref attribute is the most important attribute of the HTML anchor tag. Syntax 1. A ref is equal to link text a. Q13. What is a style sheet? A style sheet is used to build a consistent, transportable, and well-designed style template. You can add these templates on several different web pages. It describes the look and formatting of a document written in the markup language. Q14. Explain the layout of HTML. HTML layout specifies a way in which the web page is arranged. Every website has a specific layout to display content in a specific manner. Following are different HTML elements which are used to define the different parts of a web page. Header. It is used to define a header for a document or a section. Nav. This defines a container for navigation links. Section. It is used to define a section in a document. Article. This is used to define an independent, self-contained article. Aside. It is used to define content aside from the content. Footer. It is used to define a footer for a document or a section. Q15. The marquee. Marquee is used for the scrolling text on a web page. It scrolls the image or text up, down, left or right automatically. You should put the text which you want to scroll within the marquee tag. Q16. What are the tags used to separate a section of texts? There are 3 tags that can be used to separate the texts. BR tag. Usually, BR tag is used to separate the line of text. It breaks the current line and conveys the flow to the next line. P tag. This contains the text in the form of a new paragraph. Block quote tag. It is used to define a large quoted section. If you have a large quotation, then put the entire text within block quote tag. Q17. What is the difference between div and span in HTML? The difference between span and div is that a span element is inline and usually used for a small chunk of HTML inside a line, such as inside a paragraph. Whereas a div or division element is blockline, which is equivalent to having a line break before and after it and used to group larger chunks of code. Example 1, 2, 3. Div ID is equal to HTML. This is span class is equal to webdiv interview span div. Q18. What is the purpose of using alternative texts in images? The purpose of using alternative texts is to define what the image is about. During an image mapping, it can be confusing and difficult to understand what hotspots correspond to a particular link. These alternative texts come in action here and put a description at each link, which makes it easy for users to understand the hotspot links easily. Q19. How to create a new HTML element. You can create new elements for the document in the following way. 1, 2, 3. Script. Document.createElement, myElement. Script. It can also be used in the HTML as 1. My element, hello Xhtml, my element. Q20. Is the Doctype HTML tag considered as a HTML tag? No, the Doctype HTML declaration is not an HTML tag. There are many types of HTML, such as HTML 4.01 strict, HTML 4.01 transitional, HTML 4.01 frameset, XHTML 1.0 strict, XHTML 1.0 transitional, XHTML 1.0 frameset, XHTML 1.1 etc. So, Doctype HTML is used to instruct the web browser about the HTML page. Q21. Why is a URL encoded in HTML? An URL is encoded to convert non-ASCII characters into a format that can be used over the internet because a URL is sent over the internet by using the ASCII character set only. If a URL contains characters outside the ASCII set, the URL has to be converted. The non-ASCII characters are replaced with a %, followed by hexadecimal digits. Q22. What is the use of an iframe tag? An iframe is used to display a web page within a web page. Syntax. 1. Iframe src is equal to URL, iframe. Example. 1. Iframe src is equal to demo_iframe.html, width is equal to 200 px, height is equal to 200 px, iframe. Target to a link. 1. Iframe src is equal to a ref is equal to http www.edureka.co, http www.edureka.co, a name is equal to iframe_a, iframe. Q23. What are the entities in HTML? The HTML character entities are used as a replacement for reserved characters in HTML. You can also replace characters that are not present on your keyboard by entities. These characters are replaced because some characters are reserved in HTML. Q24. Can you create a multicolored text on a web page? Yes, we can create a multicolored text on a web page. To create a multicolor text, you can use font color is equal to color, font, for the specific texts that you want to color. Q25. How to make a picture of a background image of a web page. To make a picture a background image on a web page, you should put the following tag code after the head tag. 1. Body background is equal to image.gif. Here, replace the image.gif with the name of your image file which you want to display on your web page. Q26. What is the use of a span tag? Explain with example. The span tag is used for following things. For adding color on text. To add background on text. Highlight any color text. Example. 1, 2, 3. Span style is equal to color #FFFFFF. In this page we use span. Span. Q27. What is the advantage of collapsing white space? White spaces are a blank sequence of space characters, which is treated as a single space character in HTML. Because the browser collapses multiple spaces into a single space, you can indent lines of text without worrying about multiple spaces. This enables you to organize the HTML code into a much more readable format. Q28. Is there any way to keep list elements straight in an HTML file? By using indents, you can keep the list elements straight. If you indent each sub-nested list in further than the parent list, you can easily determine the various lists and the elements that it contains. Q29. Explain the key differences between local storage and session storage objects. The key differences between local storage and session storage objects are as follows. The local storage object stores the data without an expiry date. However, session storage object stores the data for only one session. In the case of a local storage object, data will not delete when the browser window closes. However, the data gets deleted if the browser window closes, in the case of session storage objects. The data in session storage is accessible only in the current window of the browser. But the data in the local storage can be shared between multiple windows of the browser. Q30. When is it appropriate to use frames? Frames can make navigating a site much easier. If the main links to the site are located in a frame that appears at the top or along the edge of the browser, the content for those links can be displayed in the remainder of the browser window. Q31. How to insert a picture into a background image of a web page. To insert a picture into the background image, you need to place a tag code after the head tag in the following way. 1. Body background is equal to image.gif. Now, replace image.gif with the name of your image file. This will take the picture and make it the background image of your web page. Q32. What happens if you open the external CSS file in a browser? When you try to open the external CSS file in a browser, the browser cannot open the file, because the file has a different extension. The only way to use an external CSS file is to reference it using link tag within another HTML document. Q33. What is the hierarchy that is being followed when it comes to style sheets? If a single selector includes 3 different style definitions, the definition that is closest to the actual tag takes precedence. Inline style takes priority over embedded style sheets, which takes priority over external style sheets. Q34. How do you create text on a webpage that allows you to send an email when clicked? To change the text into a clickable link to send an email, you need to use the mail to command within the href tag. You can write it in the following way. 1. A href is equal to mail to URL address, text to be clicked, a. Q35. How are active links different from normal links? The default color for normal and active links is blue. Some browsers recognize an active link when the mouse cursor is placed over that link, whereas others recognize active links when the link has the focus. Those that don't have a mouse cursor over that link is considered a normal link. Q36. What are the different tags to separate sections of text? The BR tag is one way to separate the lines of text. There are other tags like the P tag and block quote tag that are also used to separate sections of text. Q37. Are there instances where the text will appear outside of the browser? By default, the text is wrapped to appear within the browser window. However, if the text is part of a table cell with a defined width, the text could extend beyond the browser window. Q38. Write an HTML table tag sequence that outputs the following: 50 PCs 100500, 10 PCs 550. The HTML code for the above problem is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. TD. Q41. What are Q4 Q41? What are the limits of the text field size? The default size for a text field is around 13 characters. However, if you include the size attribute, you can set the size value to be as low as 1. The maximum size value will be determined by the browser width. Also, if the size attribute is set to 0, the size will be set to the default size of 13 characters. Q42. What is the relationship between the border and rule attributes? Default cell borders, with a thickness of 1 pixel, are automatically added between cells if the border attribute is set to a non-zero value. Similarly, if the border attribute is not included, a default 1 pixel border appears when the rules attribute is added to the table tag. Q43. What is SVG? HTML SVG is used to describe the two-dimensional vector and vector or raster graphics. SVG images and their behaviors are defined in XML text files. So as XML files, you can create and edit an SVG image with the text editor. It is mostly used for vector type diagrams like pie charts, two-dimensional graphs in an X, Y coordinate system. 1, 2, 3. SVG width is equal to 100, height is equal to 100. Circle CX is equal to 50, CY is equal to 50, R is equal to 40, stroke is equal to yellow, stroke width is equal to 4, fill is equal to red. SVG. Q44. What is button tag? The button tag is used in HTML5. It is used to create a clickable button within the HTML form on the web page. This tag creates a submit or reset button. The button tag code is as follows. 1. Button name is equal to button, type is equal to button, click here, button. Q45. List the media types and formats supported by HTML. HTML supports a wide range of media formats for sound, music, videos, movies, and animations. Some of the extensions supported by each media format are images PNG, JPG, JPEG, GIF, IPNG, SVG, BMP, BMP ICO, PNG ICO. Audio MIDI, Real Audio, WMA, AAC, WAV, OGG, MP3, MP4. Video MPEG, AV, WMV, QuickTime, Real Video, Flash, OGG, WebM, MPEG4 or MP4. Q46. What is cell spacing and cell padding? Cell spacing is referred to as the space or gap between the two cells of the same table, whereas Cell padding is referred to as the gap or space between the content of the cell and cell wall or cell border. Example: 1, 2, 3. Table border cell spacing is equal to 3. Table border cell padding is equal to 3. Table border cell spacing is equal to 3. Cell padding is equal to 3. Q47. What is difference between HTML and Xhtml? The differences between HTML and Xhtml are: HTML is an application of standard generalized markup language, whereas XML is an application of extensible markup language. The first one is a static web page, whereas the later one is a dynamic web page. HTML allows programmer to perform changes in the tags and use attribute minimization, whereas Xhtml, when user need a new markup tag, then user can define it in this. HTML is about displaying information, whereas Xhtml is about describing the information. Q48. How many types of CSS can be included in HTML? There are 3 ways to include the CSS with HTML. Inline CSS. It is used for styling small contexts. To use inline styles, add the style attribute in the relevant tag. External style sheet. This is used when the style is applied to many pages. Each page must link to the style sheet using the link tag. The link 1, 3. Head. Link head. Internal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Head. Style HR P Bo style head. Q. Logical tags are used to tell the meaning of the enclosed text. The example of the logical tag is string tag. When we enclose the text in the string tag, it tells the browser that physical Q. In order to